If you'd told me a suburban HOA president would one day kick in my front door like we were in some low-budget action movie, I would have laughed in your face and probably offered you a beer. I've been shot at overseas. I've slept in deserts that felt like the surface of the sun, but nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for a woman in a pastel blazer declaring war over my lawn. Her name was Karen Bradshaw, and she thought she owned the world, or at least the part of it called Mapleview Estates. See, after decades in uniform, and then contracting work that kept me bouncing between places most folks can't find on a map, I was done. I didn't want excitement anymore. I wanted quiet. The kind of quiet that hums in your bones. So I bought 5 acres, just outside the city old cottage, sagging porch paint peeling like sunburned skin. And I loved it the second I laid eyes on it. It wasn't pretty, but it was honest, like an old dog with scars. My land backed up against this cookie-cutter neighborhood, beige houses lined up like soldiers at inspection. Lawns trimmed so precisely they looked photoshopped. Mapleview Estates. It had that glossy brochure energy, live, laugh, obey the bylaws. I figured we'd coexist just fine as long as we stayed on our respective sides of the fence. I wasn't in their HOA. Never had been. My deed predates that development by a century. Then one afternoon I opened my mailbox and found a letter with a shiny HOA logo stamped across the top. Apparently my unkempt, lawn-discolored fence and unauthorized structures violated community standards. I laughed, tossed it on the kitchen table, figured it was a clerical error. Then another letter came, and another. The tone shifted from polite to threatening fines, enforcement, legal action. So I called. She answered. "Mr. Daniels," she said, "syrupy sweet Mapleview Estates has updated its boundary maps. Your property now falls under our jurisdiction." I actually blinked at the phone like it had grown teeth. "Ma'am," I told her, calm as I could manage, "my land isn't part of your HOA. Never has been." Her voice cooled instantly. "We have documentation." What she had was audacity. What she didn't know was I've spent a lifetime dealing with people who confuse paperwork with power. That's when I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding, this was conquest. And Karen Bradshaw did not like being told no. The rumors started next. I'd walk my property line in the evening and notice joggers slowing down, staring. Conversations would hush when I passed the fence. Someone dumped fast food trash along my tree line, not once, not twice, but repeatedly. Soda cans, wrappers, even a busted lawn chair. I checked my security footage. It wasn't random. Mapleview security personnel, yes, they had their own security, were flying drones over my land, hovering, lingering, recording. Now, I'm not a paranoid man, but when drones start buzzing your backyard like mechanical hornets, you pay attention. Karen took it further. At a monthly HOA meeting, I later got footage from a sympathetic neighbor. She stood in their community center, hands clasped, like she was delivering a sermon. "We've received anonymous reports," she said, heavy with fake concern about suspicious activity at the Daniels property. "Strange visitors. Odd hours. Strange visitors." Lady, my strange visitor was the UPS guy and my buddy Frank, who brings over fishing bait. But fear spreads fast in neighborhoods built on conformity. Parents started whispering about safety. Teenagers dared each other to sneak onto my property. Cars crawled past like I was some roadside attraction. Still, I didn't react. I documented every incident, every drone pass, every piece of trash. I've learned something in life: when someone's building a lie, let them stack it high. Gravity does the rest. Then came the morning everything exploded. I woke up to screeching tires and the metallic scream of my front gate being ripped clean off its hinges. I rolled out of bed and checked my monitors. 6 uniformed HOA security guards stormed my land like they were raiding a cartel compound. One banged on my door. Before I could reach it, another kicked it in. My heart didn't race, it went cold. They shoved a piece of paper in my face. "Community enforcement," the lead guy said with a grin, too proud for the moment. It wasn't a warrant, it was an HOA memo signed by Karen. They tore through my house, drawers yanked open, closet doors ripped back. One of them knocked over a framed photo of me and my late wife, glass shattered across the hardwood. I felt something crack inside me, then not fear, not rage exactly, just clarity. They weren't investigating, they were performing. And they forgot one thing. Every room in my house had cameras. One guard actually laughed and said, "Karen's gonna love this when we bring her the evidence." Caught in 4K. I stepped outside and called the real authorities. When the police arrived, red and blue lights washing over my wrecked porch, the mood shifted fast. The officers saw the damage, saw the footage. Then Karen showed up. She strutted in like she was arriving at a fundraiser, face arranged in polite outrage. "Officers, thank goodness you're here." The lead cop didn't even let her finish. "Ma'am," he said flatly, "this is criminal trespass and property damage." Her smile faltered just a hairline crack, but I saw it. "You mean the anonymous tip you manufactured?" I asked her quietly. That was the first time she looked uncertain. The guards were detained. Statements taken. And before the sun fully cleared the trees, Karen Bradshaw was in handcuffs on my driveway. But here's where it gets interesting, because that wasn't the twist. The twist was what came after. As detectives dug deeper, it turned out I wasn't the only one she'd targeted. An elderly couple had been threatened with endless fines over unauthorized gardening. A young family had been charged thousands for holiday decorations that didn't even exist. She'd forged boundary maps, fabricated violations, manipulated the HOA board. She wasn't protecting a neighborhood. She was running a small empire. And like most empires built on intimidation, it crumbled the second someone pushed back. In court, her composure unraveled piece by piece. My attorney, Evelyn Carter, sharp as a tack and twice as relentless, presented the footage, the forged documents, the emails where Karen instructed her security to handle me. When I took the stand, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't dramatize. "I moved here for peace," I said. "I didn't start a war, but I wasn't going to lose one." The jury didn't take long. Guilty on all counts: forgery, false police report, criminal trespass, defamation. 3 years in state prison. Restitution ordered. A full audit of Mapleview Estates. I won't lie, watching those cuffs click around her wrists in a courtroom instead of my driveway felt satisfying. But the real payoff came later. Months passed. My porch got repaired. The gate replaced. The garden flourished again. And something unexpected happened. Neighbors started showing up. An older gentleman shuffled up one afternoon, hat in hand. "We should have asked questions sooner," he said. A young mom brought her kids to help fix my fence. Turns out once the fear machine shut down, people remembered how to be decent. Mapleview held a block party after the new board restructured everything transparent. Bylaws, open meetings, no more intimidation. They invited me as guest of honor, which still makes me chuckle. Me, the menace. That night, standing under string lights with the sound of laughter drifting across lawns that no longer felt hostile, I realized something. Power without accountability rots fast. It doesn't matter if it's in a war zone or a suburban HOA, unchecked authority turns ordinary people into tyrants, and silence lets them. I didn't win because I was louder. I won because I kept records. I stayed calm. I trusted that truth, when documented properly, carries weight. And as for Karen, last I heard, her cell's gray and quiet. No audience, no gavel to bang, just fluorescent lights and her own thoughts. Funny how the person who couldn't tolerate a slightly messy lawn ended up in a place with cinder block walls. These days I sit on my porch at sunset listening to the wind move through the pines, and it's the kind of quiet I wanted all along, not fragile, not tense, earned. But here's the question that still lingers, and I'm genuinely curious what you think. If someone tries to bulldoze your rights with paperwork and authority, how far should you go to fight back? Is standing your ground always the right move? Or does resistance just fuel the fire? I stood mine and karma handled the rest. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with someone abusing power in your community, workplace, anywhere? Did you push back or walk away? Drop your thoughts below. Because sometimes the line between peace and surrender is thinner than we think. And knowing where you stand might make all the difference.